Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. The hour of 10 o'clock having arrived on Thursday, December 17th, 2020. I call this meeting of the State Lands Commission to order. I'm State Controller Betty Yee, and welcome to our completely virtual State Lands Commission meeting. Ms. Lucchese, will you please call the roll of the commissioners in attendance?
Certainly. Lieutenant Governor Eleni Kounalakis.
Present.
Gail Miller, representing the Department of Finance.
Present.
Chair and State Controller Betty Yee.
Here.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum present. In addition, I would like to identify the members of the staff of this commission and the Attorney General present for this virtual meeting. I am Executive Officer Jennifer Lucchese. I'm here with Chief Counsel Seth Blackman, Meeting Liaison Kim Lunetta, Assistant Executive Officer Colin Connor, Supervising Deputy Attorney General Andrew Bogle, and our Zoom co-hosts Katie Robinson Phillip, Mike Farina, and Phil Slater.
Great, thank you very much. For the benefit of those joining us virtually, the State Lands Commission manages state property interests in over 5 million acres of land, including mineral interests. The commission also has responsibility for the prevention of oil spills at marine oil terminals and offshore oil platforms, and for preventing the introduction of marine invasive species into California's marine waters. Today, we will hear requests and presentations involving the lands and resources within the Commission's jurisdiction. We recognize that the lands we manage have been inhabited for thousands of years by California's Native people and take seriously our trust relationship with these sovereign governments. I want to take a moment to honor the California Native American communities all across the state for persisting, carrying on diverse cultural and linguistic traditions, and sustainably managing the land that we now share. Native people have maintained a constant presence on the landscape for many thousands of years, and they are essential stewardship partners, whether along the coast, along our rivers and valleys, or in our fragile deserts. We thank California Native American communities for participating in the Commission's activities and for their essential role in maintaining and adding to our state's rich cultural legacy. The next item of business will be public comment. Before I open the public comment period up for items not on the agenda, first let me thank everyone, especially our stakeholders and members of the public, for taking the time to join our virtual meeting. While these virtual meetings are becoming more routine, this is still a relatively new experience for most of us, and we appreciate your support and patience as we work together in this new medium. Now I want to turn it over to Ms. Lucchese to quickly share some instructions about how we can best participate in this meeting so that it runs as smoothly as possible.
Thank you, Chair Yee. First, everyone, please make sure you have your microphones or phones muted to avoid any background noise. For members of the public, if you would like to speak either during our open public comment period or during a public comment period that is part of an agenda item, you will need to do so in one of two ways. First, if you are attending on the Zoom platform, please raise your hand in Zoom. If you are new to Zoom and you joined our meeting using the Zoom application, click on the hand icon at the bottom of your screen. When you click on that hand, it will raise your hand. Second, if you are joining our meeting by phone, you must press *9 on your keypad to raise your hand to make a comment. If you are calling in and want to view the meeting, including the PowerPoint presentations, please view the meeting through the CalSpan live webcast link. There will be a slight time delay, but it will avoid an echo or feedback from using the Zoom application and your phone. If you emailed us with a request to speak, please also raise your hand so we don't inadvertently miss you. We will call on individuals who have raised their hands in the order that they are raised using the name they registered with or the last 3 digits of their identifying phone number. After you called on, you will be unmuted so you can share your comments. Please also remember your computer or phone and identify yourself. Remember, you have a limit of 3 minutes to speak on an item. Please keep your comments respectful and focused. We will mute anyone who fails to follow those guidelines or at worst dismiss them from the meeting. Finally, every now and then you will hear me refer to our meeting host. Our commission staff are acting as hosts for the meeting behind the scenes to ensure that the technology moves the meeting forward smoothly and consistently. The commission has also established an email address to compile public comments for our meetings. Its address is cslc.commissionmeetings@slc.ca.gov. We have received various emails from parties that have been shared with all the commissioners prior to the meeting. If we receive any emails during the meeting, they will be shared with the commissioners and be made available on our website at www.slc.ca.gov, along with the public comment emails and letters we have already received. Chair Yi, that concludes my virtual meeting instructions. We are ready to move to the general public comment period.
Thank you, Ms. Lucchese. And before we move on, I just wanted to make an announcement and introduction of Mary Ann Warmerdam, who is the Deputy Controller for Environmental Policy, just recently joining us, and you will likely be seeing much more of her in the future. Welcome, Mary Ann. Our next order of business is the public comment period. If anyone wishes to address the commission on any matter not on today's agenda, please raise your hand and you will have 3 minutes to do so.
Hello, Vice President Harris, California State Lands Commission, Tribal Council leaders, people of the Central Coast, and the University of California. My name is Ryan Davis, and I am the author of the unpublished America's Green Reconstruction Plan, creator of Project First Light Lab, and founder of America's Green Corps 501c3. We are a newly incorporated, California-rooted not-for-profit. It is our mission to bridge the fossil fuel industry with our construction of the renewable grid. In doing this, we will guide the big wheel onto a sustainable course and onward to starry horizons. Quick story. When I first arrived to Santa Barbara, I explored the treasure of the Painted Cave, where I became captivated by the symbols painted by the Chumash visionary. I saw the black and white sails of a ship, a radiant sun, the cog of a wheel, and web. To me, the message was clear. This shaman understood the forces of nature that power the Central Coast. This moment of revelation inspired me to begin designing America's Green Reconstruction Plan along the Central Coast. For our pilot project, we are commissioning the transformation of Platform Holly into the Kutash Lighthouse Maritime Monument, the beacon of the West. The redesign will significantly reduce seepage, improve public safety, and create a catalyst for aquaculture, which filters and oxygenates the water. It will become an iconic attraction for Santa Barbara County and maritime tourism. It is our intention for this to be a gift to the Chumash and pay tribute to those who served on the front lines. This monument and its construction shaped the narrative of metamorphosis for our aging oil infrastructure. We seek the Tribal Council's blessing and California State Lands Commission's approval for the course of action, which we outlined in the art and science proposal submitted in August of 2020. Additionally, we are requesting letters of support from community leaders, Governor Gavin Newsom, and those who have services they may contribute to the development of this monumental endeavor. Let's put the star on top of the holly tree. Thank you, and contact us at projectfirstlight.net.
Thank you very much, Ryan.
In an effort to be clear and concise, I have pre-written much of what I will be sharing with you all tonight. At the end of each section, I will ask anyone in attendance who would like to contribute content or comments. So my name is Ryan Davis, and I am the creative director of America's Green Corps 501c3. As a kid, I believed that the Creator blessed me with the gift to innovate and help maintain our planet. I have always believed in science and that one day, if I worked really hard, I might just come up with a great idea. An idea that could illuminate a new course. I'm a runner, surfer, fly fisherman, explorer, writer, and cancer survivor. After I graduated from high school, I spent a summer training in Kenya on an orphanage and self-sufficient farm that had a wind-powered water pump. And that'll tie in later on. I was able to explore the Rift Valley, which is believed by some scientists to be the origin of mankind. I met many great people on this journey who I consider to be my extended family. After a year at Virginia Tech studying forestry, I became hungry to see more of the world, so I joined the Marines. I received world-class training as an amphibious reconnaissance Marine. I completed 7 sea service deployments to many places being impacted by climate change. It was a lot of hard work, technical training, and thousands of hours of field time on the land, air, and sea. After I completed my obligatory service, I was honorably discharged and set out to reinvent myself as the Pathfinder, scouting out a greener course for the 21st century. I re-entered school at Berkeley City College and was accepted into the Planetary Science Department at UC Berkeley with a 3.8 GPA. While there, I confirmed several interesting discoveries and gave legal testimony to UC Berkeley's law practicum regarding a valuable public safety upgrade, as well as 2 other entrepreneurial projects that linked history, technology, and space progress together in a very unique way. I also wrote geography papers about the volumes of sustainable sellable energy found in clouds and had many discussions regarding material resources from space. All of these experiences were the compass that guided me here to propose this project. I am a self-driven planetary science researcher. I do not hold a degree, and I am not an engineer. I incorporated myself in 2010 as First Light Consulting Inc. After years of studying, thousands of hours of research, about 1 million emails, lengthy discussions with scientists, entrepreneurs, key leaders, and a whole lot of good advice from people from all over the world, it was decided that the intellectual property created under the indemnity of First Light Consulting Inc. was well suited for a nonprofit. So in April of 2020, in the state of California, America's Green Corps was officially formed for the benefit of the public good and to unify the people for the renewable energy build-out of the Americas. Our mission is to steer the big wheel onto a sustainable course and onward to starry horizons. America's Green Corps is newly formed and seeking those with the right executive skills to lead our board of directors, as well as scientists, researchers, and those with the technical expertise to help us grow the 5 branches of AGC. Our original art and source code was copyrighted as Project First Light, with alternate title listed as America's Green Reconstruction Plan, America's New Deal, and New Idea, New Year. It should be noted that this plan preceded any discussion of the Green New Deal, and that we have chosen an enterprising, not-for-profit approach to developing technology and funding green infrastructure projects. It is the proprietary purpose of our Art and Science Lab branch, which we have named Project First Light Lab, to build the technology outlined on our lab webpage, projectfirstlight.net. Today we are covering America's Green Corps pilot project to transform a California oil platform into a green lighthouse national monument dedicated to all those who serve in the front lines. This meeting is being recorded and will be part of our commissioning proposal. Let's begin with an overview of Platform Holly. Located about 3 miles offshore Goleta, California, is an oil seep. Years ago, Platform Holly was erected to facilitate the fossil fuel resource extraction. After years of operation, Holly is now non-operational and the responsibility of the California State Lands Commission. Holly sits in 211 feet of water with 8 steel piles that go down through mud into the seafloor. Approximately 60 feet above the average sea level is the top-level drill deck, which is 80 feet by 125 feet, and that is right here. The top-level drill deck holds a 50-ton crane, and the Holly template was weighed in at 870 tons. Connecting Platform Holly to the shore is a 16,000-volt cable, so Platform Holly currently has the infrastructure to transform voltage of up to 2,300 volts on its 3-phase circuit. This is used to operate its heavy machinery and sustainment systems. Currently, the 30 well lines are being cemented and plugged with overwatch from Beacon West, who is the Holly resident expert. Once the well lines are cemented, the final disposition for Platform Holly is to be decided, with options ranging from total removal to partial removal to repurposing it as a green lighthouse. It is the position of America's Green Corps that transforming Platform Holly into a green lighthouse national monument would provide the community with more benefits than complete or partial removal. This would reward a community which has experienced many oil accidents over decades of industrial progress. At this time, are there any questions or comments on the Platform Holly overview?
I got a question. When did Holly go down? When did it stop producing oil? How long has it been fallow?
I'm not actually sure because there has been,
So it stopped when the refugio oil spill happened
Okay,
in
just a couple of years ago.
2015 now, so, yeah.
still to this
Then
day.
it go owned it at that time.
Yeah, still to this day, there's vessels that go out there regularly to check on it, and I believe that there's some pressure release that takes place. And we have quite a bit of seepage in that area as well. Okay, let's move on to platform hauling reconstruction. So to simplify the redesign process, we will complete an electrical retrofit of platform hauling and establish a primary ground. This will require research about which of Hawley's seafloor piles are most conductive and what is the tested electrical resistivity of the sea-to-shore cable. This will help us determine the limits of the sea-to-shore cable and if it is feasible to repurpose it for energy transmission from the proposed Green Lighthouse to an overflow battery, which could be located at one of the Elwood facilities that is near Coal Oil Point. Next, we will employ a reconstruction team of civil engineers and divers who will salvage existing reef and move it to a safe underwater plot nearby. The reconstruction team will make modifications to Hawley's substructure so as to reinforce the structure in a manner that is ideal for receiving a predetermined combination California-sourced rock mass. Predetermined means that we properly researched it to figure out what is the best rock for our specific needs. The California-sourced rock mass will be placed in 4 quadrants, A, B, C, and D, on the seafloor surrounding Hawley. The rock mass will be filled up to the sea level in an elongated diamond or Benjamin Franklin kite configuration. You see it there. I like Benjamin Franklin, so I always want to try to include that in there somehow. He's a great diplomat. This will act as the core. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I don't know if you will get to this, but you said earlier that you will be removing existing reef and relocating it to a safe spot nearby. Are there then plans to, after the rock mass is constructed, to then re-implant?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I'll leave that in just a moment. Correct. Good question. So let's start over. Okay, this will act as the core foundation. Additional loads of rock will be spread along the edges of the quadrants A, B, C, and D in a way that resembles the hydrodynamic shape of the alloy shell and best mitigates ocean wave damage to the Green Lighthouse structure. I would like to note that this unique design characteristic was inspired by the beautiful cultural history of this coastal community. When the desired shape is completed, the salvaged reef will be transplanted onto quadrant A and B, which is assessed to be the leeward side. The rock mass will serve the purpose of creating a solid and long-lasting support for the Green Lighthouse and help filter the seep. This should mitigate some of the oil sludge from making it to the shore. Additionally, the angled faces of the rock mass will create significantly more surface area for reef and other types of aquaculture that filter and oxygenate the water. While the rock mass substructure is settling into place, the lower level and upper level decks of platform Hawley will be augmented to support the buildup of rock masonry from the sea level to the lower level drill deck of platform Hawley. This will include creating a stepped boat moorage for low, medium, and high water lines. And this is an example of actually a Lego project that is about to come out very soon. So it's a Lego lighthouse. Should be introduced this year. And we have, just a side note, we have actually asked Legoland to assist us with doing a model. We'll see how that goes. So the upper level drill deck will be retrofitted to facilitate the anchoring and grounding of the Green Lighthouse and its watertight powerhouse. Rock masonry will be interpolated up to and into, interpolated, pretty cool word, huh? The upper level drill deck. A foundation of solid rock masonry will be laid for the powerhouse and around the Green Lighthouse anchor points. Finally, the Green Lighthouse will be affixed atop the foundation and connected to electrical lines and ground. It will then be anchored permanently into its new and long-lasting foundation. The powerhouse will be built on the leeward side, quadrant A and B, above the boat moorage. Some of the technical work and research we have identified is ideal mineral composition of the rock mass. You know, is solid and optimal for aquaculture. Then we are looking at the ideal substructure angle and the gradient for optimal wave mitigation. Substructure's ideal length, width, and the volume of the rock mass. And then we are looking for technical work to be done with regards to mechanical drawings and using SolidWorks. We have some electrical and structural engineering design and assessment. We are seeking an art and science 3D architectural model, which we can have displayed at participating museums. This could be a really good fundraising opportunity for any local nonprofits that wanted to participate in this. We would like to do a video documentary and a cost assessment of this. When we have this research completed, we will be able to submit the cost assessment to our financiers and contract our community, environmental, and engineering partners to join us. So at this time, are there any questions on the content that we just covered?
Yeah, I was curious about moving the reef also. Was it that you're going to remodel the reef or move the reef?
Mm-hmm. So if the structure is removed, you know, all of that reef is going to be cut off this structure, right? If it goes halfway, if they cut it off halfway, then they're going to leave the reef on that lower portion. And if we're going to reinforce the structure and do the green lighthouse, then we want to salvage that reef, because that reef can then be transplanted back on the outside, and that could become the beginning of the new reef, and there's a lot more surface area.
Like that, instead of piling on top with rock, move it.
Mm-hmm. So we'll move it to the side, stack the rock, put the reef back on top of it, transplant it on the leeward side, so that it can be kind of in a more safe zone and should take root. And then
How do you move reef?
how do you transplant it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do it in Bali. It'll break off, and then they'll basically link it to another piece of rock or material that's good for it, and it'll just kind of latch on and start to grow again. I'm sure they're not 100% successful, but it's, you know, the way I see it is this is the beginning of the outer structure reef, if we repurpose it this way.
I think you mentioned the length of the base of the structure would be 1,000 meters.
This is an estimate.
Just a rough estimate. It's going to be huge, right?
Right, and the 1,000 versus 800 meters, there's actually a brief sheet up here if you're interested in grabbing it. It's got some visuals on there that might kind of be in, but 800 versus 1,000, obviously that's going to be a little bit less rock. So if we were to go 800 meters long versus 1,000, but we'd have to change the angle. And so this is really where it just kind of ties into what angle is the best, what amount of volume of rock is going to be best, what's going to help us accomplish the mission.
Is the and this will go into your, like how you will be extracting the reef, like the currently grown reef. Is the like ecological structure of the reef like been researched around Holly? Do we have an understanding of exactly what creatures are crucial to that environment and what things we should make sure to retransplant after we have built up the bed?
Yeah, I think I understand the question. So everything that's growing right now on Holly is growing on Holly structure.
Yeah,
Right?
along the
It's you to go all the way down to the bottom of the seafloor. From what I understand, I'm not doing it yet. It's mostly mud down there, and that's where the seepage is coming up. And so it's 210 feet deep, right? So I mean, there's going to be a lot of sediment on that stuff. So everything that would be transplanted is coming directly off of the metal that is Holly. So it's either if we remove the structure, all that roof's going to go away, or our course of action is to transplant it back on the outside of our substructure.
I meant more if you knew if there has been like a research of what is growing there.
I believe that Brent's
Study.
Yeah, I believe that there is some research done. I can't speak as if I'm knowledgeable on that, but I believe that there has been some research. I did talk, or I did attend 2 other events, and I believe Dr. Love was a marine scientist, and I remember from UCSB, and I remember him mentioning some information regarding that, like what kind of sea life was living around there.
Because more than likely it's just sand and mud down there, right? And then whatever can grasp onto the metal pilings. So there's probably not really that much of a reef there, I wouldn't think.
And that's what's kind of interesting is it created its own ecosystem, you know, and we're hoping to take that ecosystem and make it bigger. You know, we'll be able to grow a bigger ecosystem, and we'll just use the existing, you know, foundation as kind of the seed core. Okay, any more questions? All right, let's move on to the public safety upgrades. So for years, Hawley has acted as a navigational aid for mariners and pilots, and so as we transform Hawley into the Green Lighthouse Maritime Monument, we would like it to continue on as a guiding beacon of light. After speaking with many different firefighters in the community, it was brought to our attention that Hawley was also an ideal vantage point to observe the beautiful Santa Barbara landscape for fires. Though Santa Barbara is not a particularly stormy area, last year a tropical storm migrated up from Baja California and made landfall in this area. Approximately 10,849 lightning strikes came from that weather system as it migrated up through California. This was responsible for initiating the lightning complex fires that burned a record amounts of California land. This cycle is expected to continue as sea temps continue to rise, and so we would like to design our green lighthouse with an HD marine fire weather watch camera and weather node. This camera we would like to be included as part of NOAA's Weather Research Network, as well as the University of California's camera network, which is growing. This will serve the community with a research tool and could be a great opportunity for local vision system vendors like Raytheon or FLIR to demonstrate their products. This will improve public safety by supporting the state and county fire departments with a more robust fire watch capability, which could help detect fires along the coastal area. It will also give the public access to an HD camera for observing weather systems, conducting scientific research, watching whales, sunsets, and space rocket launches from Vandenberg. Lastly, we would like the redesign of Hawley to be done in a manner that can mitigate coastal lightning strikes by establishing a lightning rod and Faraday cage around the upper portion of the lighthouse at the top of the structure. This will include an electrostatic alarm which could be integrated into the local early warning network. University of California research conducted by Dr. Ross at UC Berkeley has indicated that as much as double the amount of lightning activity is expected in the 21st century, due in part to warming sea temps. The design of our green lighthouse will be done in a manner that will allow it to ground out lightning strikes, thus mitigating coastal strikes and improving public safety for farmers, forests, infrastructure, and people. This time, are there any questions regarding the public safety upgrades? Okay. Let's move on to the aquaculture engineering and sourcing local materials. After attending a discussion on aquaculture at UCSB's Breton School, America's Marine Corps learned that aquaculture can help balance an ecosystem and actually filter and oxygenate the water. Aquaculture, which is the cultivation of aquatic plants and animals for food, has been part of the ocean farming design of many coastal communities. And we were just talking about Japan earlier. That's one of the finest examples I've seen. While examining which rock mass would be optimal for our Green Lighthouse Foundation, we discovered that one of the most productive ocean fisheries on the planet has been New England's coastal fishery, and much of its coastlines are granite. The Hetch Hetchy Reservoir provides much of the Bay Area, California, with some of the purest drinking water in the world. This valuable resource is primarily created by snowmelts percolating down through mountains of granite. Much of the California coastline is comprised of granitic sand and rock particles that were transported from the mountains to the ocean through a mechanical weathering and erosion process. Granite is not a foreign material for California and has been used in the construction of jetties and filtering of seasonal runoff for ages. Granite's use in monuments goes back centuries because it's solid and plentiful. Granite is comprised of 50% oxygen, and some types found here in California have varying percentages of iron. This has been noted by divers as a catalyst for aquaculture to grow. It is our hypothesis that granite with reef or reef ball distributed on the elongated eastern portion of the structure will facilitate optimal growth. In time, this will grow into an epic dive site and a living laboratory that will positively impact local water quality. As we investigate the transportation of the materials for this project, we have discovered that we are quite fortunate in that we have great infrastructure in place to make this project happen. Directly ashore from Holly is the Union Pacific Railroad, which in some locations really needs some protection from sea level rise and erosion. Several miles down the coast is Point Onimi, which is a Navy ship port. Having these resources so close will enable the ease and delivery of the rock mass to a maritime transfer point. Additionally, after decades of oil infrastructure, construction, and maintenance, the Central Coast has become home to some of the world's finest metalworkers, divers, mariners who, like myself, love our ocean and could be employed in this endeavor. At this time, are there any questions, comments, or comments that you want to make on the content that you just saw? Approximately for the entire process? For the estimate 5 years. No more than. But all of that is contingent upon the research being made available and the funding being made available, which we can talk about that in just a moment. So let's move on. If nobody has any questions, is that okay? All right, technical drawings, models, and prototypes. In keeping with the title of this green lighthouse monument, we want for it to be powered by renewable energy. So we have selected 3 categories that we believe are feasible power sources for the site. They are wind, solar, and sea. And sea, to be more specific, it would be tidal and current, those kind of dynamic waves. And then solar is actually being used on some of the other platforms that are out there right now. America's Green Corps has also been gifted a vertical column wind power generator patent, which we would like to incorporate into the design of the Green Lighthouse. Gary Kravitz, the co-president of the Science and Engineering Council of Santa Barbara, our SCORE advisor and a man with experience working for a wind turbine company, has advised us to get technical drawings complete and to build several scaled-down models of our wind power generator, version 2.0. The 2.0 version of our wind power generator will be customized for use as power source for the Green Lighthouse. This would charge a battery located in the powerhouse, with any excess power having the possibility of being able to be moved to shore to a battery via the 16,000-volt cable that runs from Holland. Our plan to evolve the vertical axis wind power generator serves a greater purpose that may positively impact the renewable energy projects in offshore coastal areas around the world, but also just north up by Morro Bay. This ties in with America's Green Corps' long-term vision to repurpose oil infrastructure for renewable energy and to build sustainable wind power generators that will do less harm to the many beautiful birds that inhabit California's coast. After locating some welders down in Point Onimi with a computerized plasma cutter, we are now in need of technical drawings made on an engineering program called SolidWorks. When we have these technical drawings, we may start building our 2.0 and 3.0 versions of the wind column. We have initiated a discussion with the Army Corps of Engineers to support this monument proposal, as well as the Department of the Navy Technology Officer and Vandenberg Space Force Public Affairs Officer. We are seeking their involvement because of their long history of projects in California and because they are part of the Central Coast community. The possibility of their dedicating resources into our sharing relevant technology is to be determined, but we hope they will get on board and help us. And with regards to the Department of the Navy Technology Officer, when we were looking at having lightning mitigate, having some sort of lightning mitigation tech built into the lighthouse, immediately I thought about the history of the Navy, vessels at sea. There's likely that they also have tested or created their own wind power generator for vessels at sea. And so we wanted to reach out and see if they had that technology, and if so, if we could work cooperatively with them on it. We do have a wind power generator, maybe there's a way that we can collaborate. So far, there's not been any results. However, the Army Corps of Engineers have received our messages and have stayed in touch with us and sound interested in being a part of the project, but of course, they have to have their additions given to them for hire. So, any questions on that, or comments anybody wants to make? Okay, let's move on to the living laboratory and the follow-on research opportunities. With the UCSB located in such close proximity to the Green Lighthouse, it has been determined that this would grow into a living laboratory that would generate significant follow-on research opportunities for many different types of scientific research. This would endow the entire research community with a great tool in requesting new funding for science that benefits the public good. This, we feel, is yet another benefit that proves the usefulness of this new monument and places no liability on the university. Any other questions?
I have more of a comment.
Okay.
I feel that it would be really good to have this access to students and university professors doing research, because especially with climate change and everything, studying reef structures, or like and studying
Regeneration?
yeah, exactly, because given rising sea temperatures, the destruction of coral reefs, and so on and so forth, studying underwater environment would be really helpful in then how do we help regenerate those sources. That was just a comment.
I agree. Anybody else? Okay. Well, let's move on to monument designation and renaming Platform Holly. On July 17, 2020, I was out photographing the Neowise comet that passed in the northern sky. I returned home that night and immediately began drawing the comet. After several hours, the picture you see here started to emerge. This is part of our origin story for the Green Lighthouse, as it was our original intent to build a sculpture of Hutash on top of the rock substructure. Hutash is the Chumash name for Earth Mother. With love and respect for the preservation of the Chumash culture and history, I spoke with some various Chumash descendants regarding the monument. We were met with mixed 50-50 responses. Some said thank you for helping preserve our culture and mentioned it could be an ideal annual Tomal boat race, while others informed me that it was not my place. Around the same time, we were gifted the wind power generator patent, and the idea ultimately evolved into the Green Lighthouse because of our design plan to integrate the wind power generator column into the lighthouse. That being said, if we receive the blessing of the Chumash elders, we would like Platform Holly to be renamed the Hutash Lighthouse. And just ashore, on Coal Oil Point, we would like to build a special marker that tells the story of the Rainbow Bridge and Holly's transformation from an oil platform into a green lighthouse. When completed, this new monument will be dedicated to all those who have served on the front lines. That covers all Earth's peacekeepers, protectors, civil servants, medical workers, and firefighters. After much controversy and the removal of old monuments across the country, it was determined that America needs new monuments that inspire new cores. The story of a community coming together through science, technology, engineering, art, and math, post-pandemic, to build a new monument would become part of California history and make for some exciting good news. Through this endeavor, we aim to inspire California's noble mission of becoming 100% renewable energy by planting the seed of green transformation for California's aging oil infrastructure. At this time, do you have any questions, comments? Okay. Let's move on to our art and science lab room and community involvement. So a monument like this cannot be constructed just anywhere, as it requires a local industry with the right kinds of technical support assets. Simply put, we have all the right types of science and support industry right here on the Central Coast to research, plan, design, prototype, fundraise, and build the Green Lighthouse. It is our plan to employ the community and our local organizations in as much of this process as is possible. This will aid in the growth of America's Green Corps network and will benefit our local economy. Many schools and nonprofits offer science, technology, engineering, art, and math programs, and we would like to incorporate the Green Lighthouse into their program. This can be done through art and design contests, murals, science fairs, and STEAM projects that educate and engage the community about the many facets of this endeavor. When the monument is completed, the site will become a novel California attraction that can be viewed from the tops of our mountains along the newly completed San Marcos Foothills Preserve to the coastline. This, we predict, will support our coastal community with many enterprising opportunities, like scenic boat tours, dive excursions, annual sailing contests, and jungle paddle races, and much more. This time, does anybody have any questions regarding that topic?
What was the purpose of the boat races besides the reasons of?
The history?
Yeah.
I think what was their tradition? To paddle out to the Channel Islands. It's part of the Jimosh tradition to paddle out there. It's a bit of a rite of passage, the way I understand it. And so, you know, to be able to paddle out around the lighthouse could be a really good training event, and also just a nice way to keep the tradition going.
Yeah, you know, they've got that marine technology program at City College. It's a pretty well-known program. I think it's,
The dive program?
yes, they've got, yes, that's where they certify divers,
Mhm.
guys who work on rigs or various other types of diving. I'm thinking it's got to be a way to pull that school into this thing where they make it part of the curriculum in some fashion, where they're getting in the water, or they're on that reef that would, I mean, you're talking about a huge reef,
Mhm.
2/3 of a mile long, and I don't know how wide, probably like, I mean, that's a lot of rock that the divers would probably be interested in looking at anyways. But I don't know, make some sort of connection in the development of this thing along with the marine technology school at City College.
That's a really good idea. That's a good thought. I'll actually follow up with that as soon as possible and see if they're interested in
I
coming.
mean, they do all the, you know, the helium dives. I think just about any high-level type of diving is what they focus on over there, and certifying students in that.
That's one of the great things about this museum is when I came here the first time, I really learned about the history, and this is sort of the home of diving. A lot of deep water diving was found here, you know, especially some of the equipment was developed here in this community. And that just ties in again with why I think this is just such a perfect spot for something like this.
So sorry, I got to go, but
Okay.
this is really interesting. Are you holding another meeting the third Wednesday of every week?
Every third Wednesday of the month.
Okay, good.
I'll be there. I'll be the week. Thank you. Okay, next section, speaking to the California State Lands Commission. So in order for our enterprise to proceed with any construction, we must pass the CEQA process. As the California State Lands Commission is fully responsible for Platform Holly, we are seeking their permission to build this monument. I'm asking for those that are interested to be our ambassadors and to sign a letter of support to the governor, California, the Coastal Commission, and the White House. We will be requesting their negotiation with ExxonMobil, who still has some legal obligations regarding Holly. We aim to receive their consent for the transformation of Platform Holly into a Green Lighthouse National Monument, and for the remaining decommissioning funds to be an initial seed for the Green Lighthouse. This would give ExxonMobil a tremendous public relations opportunity, which could go a long way to repairing damaged relationships. With California, ExxonMobil, and the White House in agreement for Platform Holly to become a new national monument, we will seek the support of additional financiers and begin the CEQA process. Upon completion of the Green Lighthouse, liability of this maritime site will be transferred over to National Park Service. America's Green Corps Lab, Project First Light, promises to commit a percentage of any royalties related to the further application of the wind column patent and or its network early warning system upgrade for the maintenance and sustainment of the Green Lighthouse from now and as long as the rights of the incorporated are legally supported. Any additional royalties generated from this endeavor will support America's Green Corps' mission and our 501c3 purpose to benefit the public good and to unify the people for the renewable energy build-out of the Americas. Did you have a question? Okay, we're just about finished here. So I just wanted to say thank you to the Santa Barbara Maritime Museum and to everyone else for coming and checking out the talk and just contributing what you could. Let's just take a second and recognize the magnitude and timing of this monument proposal. Given all the events that have transpired across the world over the last year, a global pandemic, the removal of old monuments, think about that for a second and imagine the good this will do for our community and the great waves it will create that spread throughout the world. Thank you very much. And this concludes our discussion. If anybody has any questions or comments they'd like to make, please feel free to use that right now.
It's great, right?
All right.